4:10.
Okay, we will call this meeting to order at 4:10. Ms. Danielle, are you calling the roll? Please,
Okay. Chair Veronica Cordova,
here.
Preston Elkins,
Here.
thank you. Rustin is absent, Michael Trujillo is absent, President Chris Wood,
Here.
alrighty. Okay, and I always put Mike Miller, the mayor, as the ex officio on the log, so. I just kind of want to put him in.
Perfect, thank you. So item 3 will be approval of the minutes for September 30th, 2024. It was a short meeting. That meeting was just the ARPA funds that we discussed. So is there any questions on the meeting minutes? If none, we have a motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Wood and a second by Mr. Elkins. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, item 4, discussion items, establishing a fleet card policy.
Okay, so this one is a short policy, but that's in essence what it is. We're establishing a fleet car policy. Currently, we utilize the vendor WEX to fuel the units. Each vehicle has, for the most part, a WEX card in there to utilize to fuel. And we want to be able to enforce a fleet card log so that all transactions are logged, all receipts are attached to the log, and every user has to authorize that transaction. So currently, we've started the practice. The PD actually has been really good about sending in some logs with their receipts, and we want to require all of the users to turn that in so that we can better keep track of the expenditures, be able to generate reports, and to streamline our accounts payable this also. You will see the resolution for what it's for. You'll see the fleet card user agreement. This agreement, I would go over this in training and educate all the users. So it would start right off the bat with any new hires. We would go over the policy and then also have them acknowledge that they understand the policy. And we can go in their personnel file. Then you can see the fleet card log. Very similar to what already kind of has been going through the departments that they have. But this would require their log, whomever is using that WEX card, to log that transaction and authorize it. And then the department head would review the transactions and the report and sign off before they get it to finance. Questions?
So the card is assigned to the vehicle,
Yes.
not necessarily to the user, but
Correct.
the user has a PIN number so you can identify who used it.
Correct. So when we generate those WEX reports from the vendor, it'll say who fueled up. That person that fueled their transaction, our initials will need to be on the log so that we can match up, and that it's letting us know that they authorized this transaction. And to protect themselves as well. You know, we don't want somebody using somebody else's PIN and.
Or just swiping a card without a PIN.
So every time somebody fuels up, this log will be in the vehicle.
Correct.
And they have to fill out their line that they filled up on the vehicle and then attach a receipt. Or
Yes.
have like a
Yes.
envelope in there or something.
Yeah, so we have an idea to provide them with some envelopes, some plastic envelopes. The fuel logs will be in there, the WEX card would be in there together. So when they go to fuel up, they would log it, dump the receipt in there, and we'll collect it at the end of the month.
Do you have a particular place that's approved or not approved, or they can just go anywhere and fuel up?
They can go anywhere that merchant accepts those WEX cards, and it's been, I haven't seen any that haven't.
Looks accepted everywhere around here except Red Rock.
So my question is, half the time when I go to the gas pump, I want to receive my time I can fuel up, but half the time the gas pump's out of paper or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's a
what's
good
gonna happen
point.
if they don't have a receipt?
So we can allow them to take a picture of the pump where it shows the number of gallons and the amount. We can also have a missing receipt form that they can turn in, but that at least acknowledges that transaction. And I understand if they can't get it, sometimes it's an unmanned plane and there's no paper. Or an emergency fire people may have and they have to hurry up and fuel and go.
Can I ask, have we looked at using the CNS fuel cards? Because we get a statement monthly that shows the employee that utilized the card because they have a PIN. It shows the unit that they put the gas into, whether it was diesel or gasoline, and then it also does the amount of gallons and the dollar amount. Have we looked into that at all?
So yes, that is actually currently, there are some CNS cards that some of our drivers utilize. I am recommending to our department heads that they not utilize CNS cards. Because then we're having all different vendors and trying to generate different reports, so it's making very encumbersome to track that. Now, these WEX cards, if we still, of course, want to utilize our local vendor, we're able to still do that. And not only that, the WEX, because it is a state price agreement, they automatically calculate all of our taxes that we're exempt from.
It just seems like this is gonna be, so also, is there any way that you can do this instead of having them hand fill out a log every time?
There may be, what do
Automated.
you recommend?
I mean, I don't have a recommendation, it just seems like there gotta be an app out there somewhere that would make it a lot quicker, or I guess my other question is, if each employee has a PIN number that's gonna be recorded by the vendor, why is this necessary?
So it's necessary because somebody could use your PIN. And how are we gonna know that, oh, when I'm reviewing this, that was not me? If the employee doesn't see it or acknowledge it.
And we say that because that was a practice that has been used before, that we're trying to get away from.
And then on, like, in my banking mind, I see that, like, somebody could steal that card or say, my daughter says, oh, I'm gonna grab your card, grabs the wrong card, and they're utilizing the fuel card. Well, I owe that back to the city instead of the city paying for my daughter's gas.
It is encumbersome. It is, and it, not only for the user, but for finance, who is going to have to review every transaction and receipt.
I guess my question is also, why is the card being assigned to the vehicle instead of to the employee?
Well, that would be very, very, I think, difficult to try and manage 100 and some cards probably going out.
So many vehicles we have.
I don't know how many vehicles we have that.
We have,
But vehicles don't leave as quickly as employees.
So then we'd have to reissue a new card, so
It
instead of.
just seems
gas,
like you're gonna have nightmares, cause one employee's gonna fuel up, and then the next employee is gonna drive that vehicle, and the card's gone, where did the card go, and.
Well, at that
kind of
point,
Stuff, get it left in the gas pump or whatever, you're not making people personally responsible.
but at that point, you could coach to the department heads that if they're the last user, then you can go on and say, okay, we need to have a coaching session on to exactly how we're doing this, and then, potentially we could write up, yeah.
And I will say it's the electric utility, Mr. Wood. We do the exact same thing. Our cards stay with the fleet asset. So we've got 50 or 60 fleet assets. And whatever vehicle you're in, that fleet card is there for you. But on the PIN, they're not allowed to share it. If they share it and somebody else has it, I mean, that'd be like me giving out my personal PIN number for my debit card. They would be liable. And so that would hold them responsible to remember their PIN, and not share that with anybody. That's the way that we do it at the electric co-op. So if Preston Elkins takes truck 25, it's going to have my pin on my date, and it's all timestamped. So that, I mean, that it can work using the fleet vehicle, not just the employee.
So Preston, do you guys have a written log like this in each vehicle as well?
No, sir. Ours is all electronic. But we only utilize CNS, and because if they're working around town, they fill up before they leave, and they fill up when they get back to the office. And then if they go to, say, Albuquerque for trainings, we've got credit cards that they would then use, and then they're responsible for turning in expense reports. But 95% of our fuel is used in town, so we just use CNS.
And they provide that electronic log?
They do. They send it to us monthly via a statement. And so when the statement comes in, it shows Preston Elkins used 8 different cards on these different vehicles at these different dates and times.
So Preston, I'm sorry. So when you go to fuel up, you don't log anything. What did you mean by it's all electronic? Do you key that in somewhere?
When we don't have to key that in as the employee. The accounting and finance department does that monthly. When we get our CNS statement, it shows all of the charges, and we just bill it to each individual vehicle. And then for the hours used or the mileage used on the trucks, when they enter in their timesheets into our accounting software, they put in the mileage used and what jobs it was used for and what work order and stuff like that.
We are not that advanced.
So you're saying, Preston, when they are at the gas pump, they are punching their PIN, but they're not filling out a log or anything at the time? But are you saying all of your employees keep track of their mileage on a daily basis?
Yes, sir. If I take truck 13 to Albuquerque, I'm responsible for when I turn in my time at the end of the day or end of the week. I put the mileage that was driven to and from Albuquerque, and then I charge it accordingly. But that's all that we do is with regards to keeping a log, because when we get that CNS statement, it automatically gives us that log monthly, time-stamped and all, and we just export that into a CSV, and we're able to drop it into our accounting software.
So is that mileage log a handwritten log or is it electronic?
The mileage log is just when they do their electronic timesheets. They don't actually have anything paper wise. I got away from that when I came to the co-op. I was tired of going through paper timesheets, trying to read what somebody wrote and what they're trying to read their handwriting. Because is that an 8 or a 2? And what vehicle is that? It was just a pain. So we just went full electronic, and that holds your employees accountable. You hard keyed that into your timesheet, so you're responsible for it.
So when you're at the pump, Preston, how do they know it's you if you're not filling out a log? By your PIN number?
We have a PIN number, yes, ma'am.
So what if somebody has the same PIN as you by off chance?
There'd be no way. I think they generate the PIN with the specific card, and so.
Oh, so they generate the PIN. You don't choose your PIN.
No, not for that individual card. No, okay. CNS gives us all that.
So do you sign off on that statement? Do you review it each month to acknowledge those are your transactions?
I make the department head sign off on all of their time, or all of the mileage that was used, because if I go in there and I see, Veronica Cordova filled up at 8:15 and then again at 9:15, one was gas and one was diesel, but she didn't drive 2 vehicles that day, then they're going to be held responsible because she might have gone and filled up a personal car. So that's how we look at it monthly.
Is there a solution for the Red Rock situation against the ethanol gases? Small engines, generators, saws.
You should be able to change that. I think right now it's probably not allowing you because it's not selected. Because sometimes you can choose, okay, there's premium or no premium for it.
But and it's not the premium or the octane, it's the non-ethanol. And Rock is the only place in Corvallis that does that. And they used to work there. We just were talking about back when, but now they don't. What I understand. Right. Sorry.
I think that's just a change. If I can check into that to make sure.
So we're not that advanced where we can put stuff into software, like we don't have that type of accounting software, so. And I've used paper logs a long time, so I would think that this is the easiest way to hold people accountable, and because we would have to probably go through, reissue every single Wex card, cut off PIN numbers and reissue PINs. Because PINs have been previously shared. That's what we're trying to get away from, and that's what this kind of does. It kind of holds people more accountable. And that's just,
You're required to keep a paper log for truck checks and fuels and stuff anyways. This is just an extra step to ensure accuracy and documentation. So for our department, it's important. Fine.
Well, and I like that we're putting another like check and balance in place because, I don't know how it was monitored before.
So from what I understand, I think.
I like it too. It just
we would like.
seems like it's gonna be cumbersome and you're gonna run into a lot of issues, just like what Preston says, is that 8 or is it 6 or, you know, what is that?
So, yes, I'll have this log. And I'll also have the WEX report that will mirror or should mirror what's on.
I think that's what. we're really
With
just
the
trying
receipt
to-
With the receipt, correct.
Because you had it where the Wex log did not, it's like, why do we have so many? Now. You can take this list and be like, okay, these match up. Whether the numbers don't look exactly right or, you know. That might, I think that's just what we're going to do.
Well, and that's what I've done the last few months, where I've been sending out the Wex log, is every month they turn in their check sheets to the office. So when that report comes in, I grab the check sheets and confirm this date, this person. These are verified charges that we're not. Thankfully.
And a lot of departments have been good in doing the due diligence of checking them, but it hasn't been enforced. It's not where right now they don't have to review it in a sense.
Yeah.
We can just pay it.
Yeah.
So you don't know if there's,
Extra
charges on there or not, and that's where the receipts come in or the.
There's something you need to dispute or.
Yes.
Any other questions on this item? Okay, item B is modifying the existing travel and per diem policy. This policy would repeal and replace any and all previous travel policies.
Okay. So this policy that I put together, honestly, it's an overhaul of what is currently in place. Right now, the lodging is set at 150 max, up to 215 with a prior approval from the city manager. And then, so I would like to change that and have it to 215 for lodging, up to 215. Anything over that would of course require prior written approval from our city manager. Right now, P cards in the current policy cannot be used for meals. It can only be used to book the lodging and training conference fee or whatever it is. But I would like to be able to utilize the P card for meals for our employees. I understand possibly, you know, when this took place back in 2022, that there was probably issues with the usage of those P cards and the meals. I did put in written in this policy where we can deduct from payroll if the city, is not reimbursed in 30 days. There are also, of course, limitations. And then,
Is there anywhere in here where be listed about talking about paying the employee back for the,
like, soon,
yeah,
uh,
we're having a lot of complaints from employees. Not getting paid back.
so travel vouchers need to be turned in within 7 days. That's the first. If it's going months before we get it, that also slows down our process to even.
Like I can use me as a reference. I went to a training, come back Monday, turn all my receipts. In 3 months, I'm still waiting for reimbursement.
So yours, I know I can look back. We did receive it like a month later. And then we can still have it probably a month later. So yes, I understand that. But yes, this would alleviate some of that because then you're not paying your bills with your personal card where we're having to reimburse you. Of course, the documentation is still an item that didn't change. We'd have to have itemized receipts so that we can clearly see what's on the receipts, whether it's on the meals or hotel.
This will be in a film PDF, right? That would take the handwritten issue out.
I can make it that way.
Yeah, that'd be great, because right now it is PDF.
Yeah, if you send it to me, I can, well, I have it in my, I'm gonna get a fill.
I just know why I'm pulling it out.
Yeah, so that travel voucher is one form, whereas right now, I think there's a requirement to submit like,
Second.
yes, right now it's so many, it's very cumbersome, so we're trying to alleviate some of that from the user where it's just one form. And you can see it, we bolded some of the key items where you're capped, the totals, where you need prior approval.
And then if you're gone for 2 weeks, you just fill out a second page.
Yes. I think they even put in there, there's another page. However, if you need to, then it's more than a week. If you need more room.
Yeah.
So what would require more than a week, like academy, maybe? The academy?
No, because we pay that up from the meals are included with the price we pay for the academy.
Yeah, we send personnel to support the 5 minutes, it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks. It's a very small chance of it ever needing to be, but just to have that in your back pocket.
And this is the first for all employees and elected officials, and it always has been. We're mirroring the state statute. We can always be more strict, just, we need to just not relax in the state, but it has to be within the state guidelines. And on there, I reference the state guidelines, so questions or need more clarity, we can reference that. And this would be utilizing the actuals. So the state right now has the opportunity to do per diem or actuals, and this would be actuals. Because now we would have P cards to be able to utilize and not have to do a per diem rate to pay off somebody up front.
So on, like for the P card, you're saying like if we go to a conference, then we would now take the P card, because before, like, also just make our reservations, everything would go on there. And then we would just put the incidentals on our own card.
But you can still do that and we can reimburse you. That's
Okay.
an actual, yes.
Okay,
But having a P card, you could check out a credit card and utilize it for that if you're not going to use your personal card.
oh, okay.
Just change the mileage, so if you happen to take your own vehicle, of course, I think most elected officials do take their own personal vehicle. We would reimburse you now. It used to be 80% for the state statute. Now we can reimburse you up to 100% of the IRS mileage rate. Another thing that the meals would be capped at for the 24-hour period, and it's $59, which is the DFA rate. And
So
then
that's for all day.
per
day.
day for up to $59 and include the tip capped at 15%. Of course, you can tip more, but it would be your expense.
Do you have anything in here listed on like if an employee would ask for an advance on their mileage prior to going or their trips
So that
or?
would be a per diem.
Okay,
we
and we don't,
No.
okay, so I know that that's come up in the past, so, and I just, something could happen that they don't go and they've already received that
Yep.
money, and we just.
So that's why
need
we're
to-
not
yeah,
doing
yeah.
per diem, and I didn't put it on the policy because it is actuals. And they're able to utilize the card that they would upfront.
Perfect.
The per diem on mail cost out of state, I'm just missing it out here, usually higher than in-state,
So it'll remain the same as
so now it's 59.
59. For in-state and out-of-state.
It's easier than the out-of-state.
Okay, any other questions on this one?
I just like to compliment. This has been a very cumbersome thing for us in the fire department for many years, and it's.
Good. Thank you. Okay, for y'all's work. Appreciate it.
Mr. Valdez, anything else, any questions? I know that a lot of your department travels.
No, I don't.
So that, yes, this would help to alleviate the whole process and get, if we needed to issue reimbursements, it would speed that up.
Do you still do it like the 10th or the?
Okay, so we're paying bills now weekly. Every Friday we will be issuing payments. We just started this last week, but we plan to keep that.
Okay. Perfect. Right.
It'll help with external things.
Yes.
Especially viral.
We have asked department heads if there's an invoice or anything that can be submitted by Thursday at 10 a.m. So that gives us plenty of time to review and process that for payment the next day.
Perfect, and that keeps a better actual number of rolling balance.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, item C, modifying the existing procurement purchasing policy. This policy would repeal and replace any and all previous policies.
The current policy, I was able to edit it. This one's not an overhaul, but I was able to edit some needs. So one of the changes currently is small purchases. Right now, the current policy has from 0 to 5,000. Anything after 5,000, it requires us to have 3 written quotes. I would like to highly recommend to change that to 20,000. From 0 to 20,000, it's considered a small purchase, and we would obtain the best value for the city. After 20,000, we would require 3 written quotes. We have delayed a lot of repairs, or in a sense, emergency repairs that need to be done because we're having to contact and wait for 3 different vendors to give us prices. The state procurement is small purchase is considered anything under 20,000, so it would mirror the state procurement. Oh, and then
I can mention, the Income system allows for checks and double checks without having to get the multiple quotes where the procurement department reviews, like on our transmission repair. With it being over 5,000, I had to get 3 codes, but when I put it in code, Lisa has to approve it before I can proceed. So there are checks and balances that keep it in shape.
I think everything now is where it's going for approval. So that we're,
And it's more than just one person, it's all
Yeah.
of us together. Checking and rechecking each other, so checks and balances.
Months.
yes,
It's working one.
the other change to the purchasing is adding a P card. Not adding a P card policy because it's already on there. Just adding an article to it so that it explains more of the P card because now we would be utilizing it for meals also. So that one you will see on article 9.
Yes.
Article 9. So used to, in the old policy, you can see it's only like one paragraph that I talked about a P card.
Now, Fundamentals will still do utilize it like in our department if they need to pay for a national test site for their EMT license and stuff like that. They'll just fill out the new expense form instead of the previous, correct?
What extends point?
We have it may be a PFD internal, I'm not sure, but it's been around longer than me. They attach the itemized receipt to it, they print and sign their name and write what it's for. It gets approved by the officer in charge the day that it comes over to me for when it's time to pay this thing.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I mean, we're gonna be reconciling these credit card statements anyways when they send out, when you wanna go send them out. And then, so if you have that already, that pre-authorization, that's great. So adding the P card article in it, also we added the P card user agreement so that we can cover with every user the policy. And then also be able to maintain it in their personal file. Those are the significant changes to the procurement policy. It's in that P card and the user agreement with it. Oh, and the lost receipt affidavit form, there's already one that's kind of circulated. And for time saving purposes, I just copied the one that the state VFA has. And incorporated into ours. But should someone not come back with the receipt for their meal or any other business transaction, they would have to certify in this form that they lost it. And it would require employee signature, department head, and city manager.
That's the form that we use.
Okay.
And we don't have one, so that's.
Going to?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so it looks good.
Okay.
I mean, I like how yours looks better than what ours does. Okay, any other questions on this item? So these are just, it says discussion action. Do we just need to take action to move forward to council? Is that what you're recommending? Okay, so after discussing all 3 items, what is the pleasure of the finance committee?
Recommend to the council, we approve the new policy, but also with the recommendation that the city pursue some kind of a paperless system of tracking this to make it more efficient for both finance department and the employees that are employees out.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Wood and a second by Mr. Elkins. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
All
sorry.
opposed? That's okay. Motion carries. Okay, item 5, other business. Any matter not known about or which could not have been reasonably foreseen prior to the timing of the posting of the agenda. Do we have any other business? Okay, with that we are adjourned Preston, thank you for joining. I hope that we didn't